Hey guys, and welcome to one of the most dreaded matchups in the game. I'm a Rubber Duck of War taking on the mighty Mossy. And what was a training game? I do in fact do a training over on my Patreon. And Mossy is a fantastic player and improving considerably and very quickly as well. We had some awesome games. This one a particular highlight. Proven that though Nurgle, can struggle in this matchup, they still can be competitive. It is Nurgle versus Tzeentch. Now, the tricks of the Tzeentch in land battles, very tricky for Nurgle to deal with. I mean, tricky for them to deal with in domination as well, but particularly land battles due to the fact Nurgle are really slow as a rule of thumb, and you can, of course, obliterate them with your long-range prowess and rain hellfire from afar. So how are we going to counter this? What's our main plan? Well, we're going to go old school. We're going to go yeet. We're going to go Leroy Jenkins style and charge aggressively towards the enemy as quickly as possible with a bucket and a Forsaken through the front line, looking to rip and tear into the enemy. They're going to be backed up by a cultist of Nurgle coming in with those fat juicy summons. We also have a rather beautiful madame here, a damsel in distress, or she shall at least bring in the distress to our enemies. A beast of Nurgle slumping forward. We do have a couple of the hippity-hoppity plague toads of Nurgle on the far sides. Looks like two units on either flank. Couple of Furies in the skies, and then we have the unkillable Lord. And know that I do not mean an exalted greater demon. So the exalted big old Papa Plague Barras, or what are their names again? The Great Unclean Ones, there you go. The Great Unclean One is very good, but of course, again, Tzeentch is such a big target. I'm a big fan of the Herald of Nurgle, and if you bring him on his little chair, not only do you get a fantastic mount, he actually becomes nigh on unkillable. He is so disgustingly tanky. Take a little look at his stats there. He's coming in fleshy abundance, as well as miasma of pestilence. We have stream of corruption, and of course the basic locust for that nice healing. So should be hopefully a rather sturdy boyo, because I'm expecting my opponent to attempt to snipe him relatively quickly. As for my opponent, we have some Chaos Knights of Tzeentch on this flank. We have a load of Forsaken and Blue Horrors in the mix. Mainly Blue Horrors though, so luckily I should be able to overwhelm them with my own Forsaken. There are a few dotted throughout. Looks like 3 Forsaken total. We also have some Exalted Pink Horrors, sandwiching between them some Flamers of Tzeentch, which is pretty cool. That is a load of long-range power, so I need to shut it down as quickly as possible. Not easily to do, of course, with the Force of Nurgle. Up in the skies, we have a couple of Screamers, as well as an Exalted Lord of Change of Tzeentch magic here, so not coming in with metal, which is an interesting choice. Instead, coming in with the blue fire and pink fire of Tzeentch, so really looking to shoot me off the battlefield. It's 100% the way you should play this, in my humble little ducky opinion. I also got a new mouse, guys, so I can scroll in and out freely without jumping around all over the place, so hopefully that will improve the quality of content a little bit. We're going to be lining up. Looks like our opponent is going to be unleashing some hell upon us, just focusing down the Chaos Furies, perhaps trying to win the air game really quickly and free up his Screamers where possible. Now, my Lord is being left behind a little bit. I am a bit forgetful on the fact that my front line is pretty swift, at least by Nurgle standards. I'm also going to be dropping my Chaos Furies to the ground. I'm a bit worried they're going to get jumped in the skies by the Screamers. Looking to try to pull the enemy down into the infantry corps. Instead, he's going to go snipe my Lord. Now, at this point, you'd expect sniping a Lord to be a good thing. But as you can see, my Lord's going to take barely any damage. He is so tanky. I'm going to pull back here, coming in with the Beast of Nurgle and Forsaken to drive away the Screamers. And our Lord is relatively free and kind of fine. We're repositioning a little bit, reorganizing our line so we can try and hammer around into the enemy where possible. I want to go for a big flank overload. We're also able to catch out some Chaos Knights here, hopping on them with the hippity-hoppities, and they're not going to be liking that too much. Now, it's an engagement that's not terrible for them, but they do just take damage on their shields, and my opponent rather swiftly decides to fall back, which is 100% the right move there, so get a little bit of micro on my opponent, not taking actually any damage. Just the shields. Now, Furies are going to delve into the back. We're kind of forcing our way through onto the pink horrors, as well as blue horrors in the back, but the pink horrors are going to light our arse on fire. Look at that damage! HP blistering off our units there, and in the main fight as well, Forsaken are attempting to pin us back. We do have the toads, though, jumping on top of the Flamers as more fire does rain in. It is a real big grind here. Loads of damage going both ways. The exotic pink coral is going to be launching shots up and over, aiming at the hippity-hoppities, which is a good target there. As Forsaken are joining the enemy Forsaken in the trees, but I do apply poison. In the back, my opponent is continuing to try to harass my Lord, but really struggling to do any significant damage. With Forsaken back here, my opponent does summon some Chaos Furies, but we will be able to rip and tear into the Screamers relatively effectively. You can see they are starting to lose HP damage now, and my Lord's simply going to trot away and make safe to the forest. There's a little bit of security for him into sniping of those large threats. In the main battle line, we have summoned some Plague Bearers. Their main job is to shut down these blue horrors and allow my other units to circumvent this and wrap all the way around. It looks like we did actually have 2 cultists of Nurgle, missed one of those in the opening, and that's going to allow us to do even more summons. So Forsaken and Toads have made a big wide arc swinging around the enemy formation, desperately trying to shut down the Exalted Pink Horrors. My opponent, though, has been real annoying and got some Chaos Furies and Blue Horrors in the way, shutting down my Toads. I am on the warpath, though, and we have more forces starting to pour in and overwhelm the enemy formation. Likewise, the front line's pretty even. Flamers doing some point-blank range shots into my forces are doing some pretty big work and really helping the Tzeentch Forsaken drag my beautiful little green boys down there. We are on fire right now, and yeah, being on fire is not fun. It looks like some Screamers have indeed gone down. In the back here, we do have the beautiful Beast of Nurgle combined with the Herald just to rip apart the Exalted Lord of Change, and some decent damage there. Forsaken as well are certainly adding up their damage. So we're doing decent work, and again, our Lord is basically unscathed. He's not going to be taking much damage whatsoever, with plenty of healing to boot as well. Forsaken versus Forsaken. This is the fight you guys have dreamed of, I'm sure, as body slamming troops come in, and as claws, blades, headbutts, anything you can get going is good in the eyes of a Forsaken warrior. In the back here, I'm still trying to harass where possible with Plague Toads, with Forsaken driving into the back, as well as Cultists, looking to shut down the Exalted Pink Horrors where possible. We're doing a good job hunting them down. Likewise, my opponent, though, has done a solid job keeping these guys active for as long as they have been. Looks like Flamers are being sacrificed into the pit of death, though. That should allow the Pink Horrors to escape, but at what cost? Flamers, of course, very squishy and expensive at the same time. Also, Blue Horrors pouring on more fire. In the back, the Cultists of Nurgle in decent damage to the enemy. There are some Chaos Knights which have been forgotten. A tactical reserve, it seems. And I didn't know they were there either, so maybe they'll pop up in the later stages of the battle and swing the tides. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Now, the Exalted Lord of Change is being unfortunately plucked apart and not having a good day getting back up into the air. He is being poisoned as well, which is going to be slowing him down, allowing my Forsaken, led by my glorious Lord, to hunt him down. Though it seems like he has unfortunately been able to escape up into the skies, but not before taking significant damage. With a stream of corruption going down, just bathing the Forsaken in holy pestilence, as well as a summon of Plague Bearers. Looks like we should be able to rectify the situation, which was our Forsaken losing. Now we are surrounding the enemy relatively effectively. Should be able to drag them down quite comfortably. I'm trying to hound and harass my opponent and his dreaded Pink Horrors, but he's doing a really good job keeping them alive for as long as possible, and that's buying time for this Exalted Lord to float over here and perhaps rescue them. The Exalted Pink Horrors do have a 38 speed. We have 42 speed plus poison on us. We should hopefully be able to drag down the Exalted Pink Horrors, but they are really not having any of it whatsoever and seem to be escaping it relatively well, with a Cultist of Nurgle going over there to assist. Elsewhere, the Plague Toads doing okay against the Exalted Pink Horrors, but it's going to be a grindy fight. We do have a summon of Furies from the Hellgate. They emerge, warriors from a distant evil land, summoned to fight and protect their kin. Should be able to float over here and probably save the Exalted Pink Horrors. Toads aren't the most durable of lads, coming in with a relatively meager 50 armor, so with the Chaos Furies with their magic attacks swarming in, I expect them to do some pretty decent damage. Looks like Blue Horrors shall be fleeing from the Cultists of Nurgle, and also a big stream of Nurgle forces are going after my opponent. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident. Balance power is certainly favouring me, but I got problems as well. The Exalted Lord of Change is doing some decent damage, still got the possibility to snipe out the Cultists. I'm trying to distract him, like, hey, I've got a Cultist, come after me, fight me, ignore the Forsaken, who are still hunting down the Exalted Pink Horrors. It's been a long fight to really try to get to grips with them. You see we're not really connecting fully there, and the Exalted Lord has managed to fly over to my Cultist, so I give up trying to save that unit, and I fall back my Cultists to the remainder of the army. It does look like our Plague Toads were dealt a pretty substantial amount of damage there. In fact, a killing blow from the Chaos Furies, who swooped in, doing some really solid work, and the Exalted Pink Horrors live for now, but I'm attempting to sandwich them where possible. Blue Horrors are also falling. In the distance, you can see I'm still running over these Forsaken, and yet I'm yet to unleash the Chaos Knights. Neither me or my opponent knew they were here, so it's going to be interesting to see. They could have been a really good tool, because they could have easily killed these couple of units, perhaps saved some of their own Forsaken, and also got involved in the main fight where it comes to saving the Exalted Pink Horrors. We all make mistakes like that, particularly when you're trying to micromanage so many the pink glorious boyos. The Exalted Lord of Change doing some nice damage. The Pink Horrors are now going to turn to fight the Forsaken, which I'm quite happy for them to do. I know this unit's dead, so I just want to get as much value as physically possible. And look at us go, the little Pink Horrors, though. They're such a menace in the herd, and they're going to actually run away and cackle now that their shields have gone down, and allow the Exalted Lord of Change to continue to be a pain in the butt for the Forsaken forces. The other unit of exiled pink horrors are going to be engaging. It is not going to be a fun time for them, however, with Forsaken clattering into them. Hopefully we can poison them, slow them down enough that I can finish them for good. It looks like we're going to be doing a heal here, maybe. Probably on the unit of Forsaken. Yeah, there we go. Fleshy Abundance going down. And though they've only got 33 models, a lot of room to heal in their healing cap. I had a bucket tons of Winds of Magic at this point as well. My Lord's basically just been surviving getting sniped rather than casting spells. So I was like, hey, might as well use the magic while I still can. In the distance, it looks like the Knights were unleashed finally. They were remembered. And they're going to be hopping on top of the Forsaken, running them down and trampling them under hoof and fury. And it seems like, yeah, these units of Forsaken certainly going to be going down. And this is a meaty unit of 60 Chaos Knights who can come back into the main fight. As well, you got to remember, the Tzeentch have a load of magical powers to get rid of my infantry, but more importantly, they may have that big air effect destruction spell, which I've seen win so many land battles late game, and that could hop on and really probably wreck both units of Forsaken, though they are looking relatively healthy at the moment. This unit of Forsaken is trying to be a little bit sneaky. I'm looking to sandwich the pink horrors if my opponent doesn't see it coming. We do have some nice beaming shots coming in. It looks like they are aiming at the cultist of Nurgle, who's absolutely fine. He's a Chad. He's going to take that on the chin. But out my formations a little bit now. Forsaken will be taking significant damage as they charge through the fire and cackling maniacal cries of the exalted pink horrors. It looks like Forsaken are raising their hands above their heads, hoping they will work as makeshift shields. I don't think that's going to go too well for you lads. We do get a bit of a sandwich though. Our units come back from the depths of destruction. The Exiled Lord does jump on us, and hopefully we had to pin in the pink horrors quick and kind of long enough for my Forsaken to hit. And it looks like we did manage to do that. Your sacrifice shall not be made in vain. Streams of corruption, pink fire going in all different directions. And now we finally got to grips with this exiled pink horrors. I do not want to let them go. They're trying to escape. We are catching quite a few of them out though, and the casualties are significant. Looks like the Chaos Knights didn't quite finish off that unit of Forsaken, but they're not going to be able to make it back to the fight to make an impact. So Chaos Knights are on the warpath. My Lord is trudging along. Balance has been in our favor significantly for quite some time. Looks like blue fire is going to be going down on the Herald of Nurgle. We attempted a late juke there. Fortunately took most of the shots, but once again, we're absolutely fine. We don't take that much damage. We're relatively tanky. I'm going to be falling back to protect my Lord, though. I see the Chaos Knights are on arrival, and it looks like we're going to have a big final confrontation. About 10 minutes into the game, the Knights are fully unleashed. Forsaken countercharge into them. We'll be able to do decent amounts of damage, despite the fact the opponents are armor-piercing. We just have quite a lot of burst. I love the fact we have our two cultists left as well. They're going to be able to do some pretty good poke damage on the Chaos Knights, who are currently receiving a Miasma of Pestilence, lowering their melee attack, making their charge a little less devastating, plus a Stream of Corruption going down, ripping through them, poisoning them, and it looks like they're almost stripped of their shield. In fact, they are fully stripped of their shield now and taking some HP damage. The Exiled Lord of Change does dive in, looking to try to assassinate the Beast of Nurgle, or at least one of these pesky little heroes I have. There's so many single entities surrounding the beastie. We're plucking at its feathers, ripping them apart, quacking in its face, trying to mock it where possible, and it is struggling a little bit. Decent melee combatant, but not the greatest large fighter in the realms. It's not like a Bloodthirster, for example. Chaos Knights do currently have their armor sundered, which is really bad news for them because they rely on that armor quite a bit in these long, sustained fights. You can see the Herald of Nurgle having a whale of a time. Only up to 7 kills, but he's done his job. Exiled Lord does decide to float over and try to engage. He's currently being poisoned. Miasma Pestilence goes down, and now the Forsaken can seal the trap. The Beast of Nurgle come back. Make sweet, juicy, Nurgly love to me, says the Beast of Nurgle, trying to hug the Exalted Lord of Chain's leg there, who does seem to be shattering though. Army losses kicks in, and we are able to reign supreme. I think we did that just in the nick of time as well. We're speaking to my opponent while playing in there. Here we go. We have that lovely, glorious tier 3 ability from Tzeentch about to reign in. But alas, a little bit too little too late with army losses settling in. Who decided to just stand and take it because the game is over. You can see it does significant damage, but not enough to turn the tides. It's a little bit too little too late there. Well played to Mossy. I had some fantastic games with him, both domination games as well as land battles. Really talented guy, and yeah, as I said before, if you guys are interested in getting lessons, I do 1-hour lessons. You just have to go and subscribe on Patreon. It should be up there, like the costs and all that kind of standard stuff. But yeah, well played to Mossy, absolute Chad, and we might be showcasing some more games of him in the future as well, because we had so many good ones. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll delve into kills and damage dealt in a second, but if you did enjoy, I'd really appreciate a follow, a subscribe, a thumbs up, all that good juicy stuff, and feel free to comment down below what you thought of the battle, and what do you rate my Nurgle Rush build? I really like this style of play, particularly against Tzeentch. I think it's a must-have. Get into grips with the enemy as quickly as possible. And yeah, loads of links in the description, Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. So back to the battle. The Herald of Nurgle, 668 gold value, but his value is just in the fact that he is unkillable. I'm telling you, and I don't know how to pronounce the word, but like Palanquin, whatever it is, his little chair fin makes him really hard to kill. 360, 280 value on the Cultists and Nurgle, not the most damage, but the summons were really helpful to win the front line and win the front line as swiftly as possible. 73, 100, 129, 76, and 45 kills, with varying levels of success from the Forsaken, 900 and 300 being the worst units, but the other units, 1.2k gold value, 1.1k, 1.7, it's pretty impressive stuff for sure, and the Beast of Nurgle being so healthy in the latter stages of the battle, still got 850 value. Now the Toads, not the best, but they were able to hunt down the enemy and pit my opponent on the back foot, which is what they needed to do. Just shy of 2,000 gold on the Exalted Lord of Change. The Knights, only 350 value, unfortunately, on them being forgotten, until the later stages at least. 670, 400 gold value on the Pink Horrors, the Exalted ones, 870, 600, and 700 on the Forsaken, only 400 on the Flamers, and yeah, elsewhere it was pretty solid stuff, nothing too crazy to write home about. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.